to GMAT Tuesdays. My name is Kevin. I'm coming to you from Magoosh. And in these videos, we like to cover topics that pop up a lot on the GMAT. Today, we're looking at an issue that we see in sentence correction questions, and it involves comparisons. Comparisons and ellipses. So some of you might know the ellipses as one of those where you put the 3 periods basically, and that means like things are missing. Well, this is a similar concept. Both come from the Greek word omission. And so what we're talking about here with comparisons is when we can drop either a subject or a verb from a phrase or clause without losing any information in the sentence. And so this happens on the GMAT. It can cause some difficulty on the sentence correction, especially for non-native speakers, because it's unclear when you can drop and when you shouldn't, or when you can drop and when you can't drop. That was much easier to say than I made it. So, for example, here we have the food wasn't as good as last time. And really, we could say the food wasn't as good as it was last time. But in this case, we can drop it from the end of the sentence. And we know that we're talking about the food last time here. There's no ambiguity. And so it's okay to remove here it. And in this case, it is a subject, and so we're dropping a subject. In the second example, we drop a verb. So it says, I ate more cookies than you. And we could have said, I ate more cookies than you ate. But in this case, we don't need this verb here. It's understood that we're comparing how many cookies were eaten. So we can just drop that verb. So this is something that does happen on the GMAT sentence corrections. They might give you some options where they give you a verb or a subject, and some options where they don't give you the verb or subject. So you're always looking for the most concise, clear answer choice. And so sometimes that means actually taking this stuff out. So there are some common phrases out there where we do tend to remove words. So it's good to know these. I listed them here. Some include dropping the verb, some include dropping the subject. Obviously, I couldn't write complete sentences for all of these, but I'll just read through these so you can write them down. And as always, probably easier just to pause and then write them down. So, more than is necessary, as happened, as follows, as was expected, as was agreed, as is well known. As I did last year, then I was, then I had. So to say that these are common means that we tend to drop words in comparisons, but beware. Know these common phrases, but beware that ambiguity can still creep in. And trust me, the GMAT, GMAC, the people who make the GMAT, will want to test you. So let me show you what it means for things to be ambiguous if we don't include words. And this definitely happens as well. So here we have an ambiguous sentence. It says, Jane knows more about cooking biscuits than Sean. And this is one of, I should stop here for a moment and say, this is one of those things where if you're in the context of a conversation with someone, it's probably going to be pretty easy to know what this means. You're probably discussing something. You might be in a kitchen actually cooking biscuits. You might know Jane and Sean. And so there isn't any ambiguity here. But with sentence correction, we're testing written English, which is very different than spoken English. Well, not very different, but there are some differences. And one of them is this. So what does this mean? Does this mean that Jane knows more about biscuits than she knows about this person, Sean? Or does it mean that Jane knows more about how to cook biscuits than Sean knows about cooking biscuits? Maybe Sean doesn't cook biscuits at all. And so in these sorts of situations on the test, you're going to want to look for an answer choice that clarifies the intended meaning. So you're going to have to figure out what is being said, what is trying to be conveyed, and then clear it up. So, for example, you'd have 2 different sentences. Here, Jane knows more about cooking biscuits than Sean does, so we add add the verb here to refer to the cooking. Here, Jane knows more about cooking biscuits than she knows about Sean. We have to add some more words here to be clear, which isn't normal, but it tends to be the case sometimes. So we add she knows about Sean to make it more clear what the intended meaning is. All right, so comparisons and ellipses are a tough concept. Definitely requires some study and practice, but now you have some common phrases to keep in mind. You should have some ideas about what the ambiguity will look like, and you know, anytime you have a sentence with as and then, you're going to have to be thinking about these issues. All right, well, we'll put a link down below this video. It's going to be in this area right here, and you can click on it and read more about this topic. I'll be back next Tuesday dealing with other GMAT issues. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We always appreciate it. And any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below the video, and we'll get back to you. All right, be excellent to the universe, and I'll see you next Tuesday.